graph polynomial functions. And not to be alarmed, we aren't graphing. Anything we're going to graph is going to just be on the calculator for what we're doing. So, we are going to start with polynomial functions. Decide whether the function is a polynomial function. If so, write it in standard form and state its degree, type, and leading coefficient. So, number 4, f of x is equal to 6x plus 8x to the 4th minus 3. So based on what you have in your notes, is this polynomial? Why is it not if you're saying no? So that would just mean it's not in standard form. But otherwise, would you classify it as polynomial if we rewrote it? Yes, so it is polynomial. So you said I need to put this out front, right? So we need our terms in descending order. So 8x to the 4th plus 6x minus 3. This puts it in standard form, which is the second thing they wanted us to do if it wasn't already in it. Then they want to know the degree, type, and leading coefficient. So what degree is this polynomial? Basically, what number is on the highest power term? 4. And then the type, so this is where you'll have to look at the names from your notes. What type is this one? Then it is a degree 4. What's the name for it? Huh? Nope. Quartic. And what's the leading coefficient? Yep, 8. So it's the number in front of the highest power term. Six. Same instructions. H of x is equal to x cubed times the square root of 10 plus 5x to the negative 2 plus 1. Is this one polynomial? Why not? Correct. No, because we have a negative exponent. One more of these. G of x is equal to 8x cubed minus 4x squared plus 2 over x. Is this polynomial? So I can have fractions, but the question is, can I have a variable in the denominator? Think back to last section. Okay, if I wanted to move this up to the top, because the answer is no, I can't have a variable in the denominator. What is going to happen for me to move this x to the first up to the top? It's going to become what? Okay, it's going to become negative, so this would be the same as 8x cubed minus 4x squared plus 2x to the negative 1. So based on that, is this polynomial? No. Because there's a negative exponent. Could also say because the variable's in the denominator, because that would obviously imply the same thing, but... Alright, the next ones are to solve using direct substitutions. This is stuff that you've probably done many times before this. But they give us a number to plug in for x, and we just plug it in and solve. So 10 f of x is equal to 8x plus 5x to the fourth minus 3x squared minus x cubed. And they tell us that x is equal to 2. So I'm just plugging in anywhere there's an x, I'm putting a 2. So f of 2 is equal to 8 times 2 plus 5 times 2 to the fourth minus 3 times 2 squared minus 2 cubed. And because sometimes they give you like a negative x value, that's why I'm putting the parentheses around there, even like on the one that doesn't need it here, because that way I just get in the habit, because people tend to mix up signs when they do these because of the negatives, which obviously this one's positive. But all right, so 8 times 2 is 16 plus, what's 2 to the fourth? 16 times 5 is I think so. Minus 3 times 2 squared, 12. And minus 2 cubed. So then what is this equal to? Yeah. Alright, let's look at one that's got negatives in it. 14. G of x is equal to 4x to the fifth plus 6x cubed plus x squared minus 10x plus 5. And they tell us that x is equal to negative 2. So I'm going to plug negative 2 in. So g of negative 2 equals 4 times negative 2 raised to the fifth plus 6 times negative 2 cubed plus negative 2 squared minus 10 times negative 2 plus 5. So what is negative 2 to the fifth? Yeah. Negative 32 times 4. Do this just so we have it. What'd you say?
120.
Negative 128. Then negative 2 cubed. Negative 8 times 6 is plus negative 2 squared. And then negative 10 times negative 2 plus 20 plus 5. Anyone get the final answer?
205.
Well, the answer is not going to be positive, but I also think that's too big.
I added. Negative 147.
Yeah.
That sounds right. All right, are we okay on the direct substitution thing? All right, I'm going to show you one of the new thing that you will probably have never seen before, but we'll finish this section up tomorrow, and then you'll have time to actually do the problems. But it's called synthetic substitution. So it's just another way to basically do these problems. It will lead into stuff we'll do later in this chapter, which is why we start learning it now. But we've got number 16, f of x is equal to 8x to the fourth plus 12x cubed plus 6x squared minus 5x plus 9, and they tell us that x is equal to -2. So a couple key things about synthetic substitution. If any term is missing, okay, so it's got to be written in standard form. So if it's not in standard form, you need to put it in that, okay, meaning descending order. If any term is missing, so let's say we didn't have this 12x cubed term, we have to put in a 0x cubed, okay, otherwise your answer is going to end up being wrong. So this one has all the terms. It's 4, 3, 2, 1, and 0. If the constant term is missing, you've got to throw in a 0 for the constant term. So this one, the setup's a little different. You'll need like 3 lines to do this. So what we do is we take this -2, so what x is equal to, and we put it in a little box in the corner, like this. Then we copy down the numbers only in order, okay, with their signs. So like if it's positive, obviously you don't need to write sign, but if they're negative, you need to make sure you have the sign going across. So 8, 12, 6, -5, and 9. Then you're going to want to leave a line. So this is going to look like, you know, your elementary little setup of doing adding and subtracting, basically. So this is where you need to watch carefully, okay? So the first number gets brought down. Exactly. You don't do anything to it. It just gets copied down. That's an 8. Then we multiply this 8 times what's in the box. So 8 times -2 is -16, and that goes right here. So it goes under the next number. Add 12, that's -4. Then we multiply by -2, so that's +8. Then plus 6 is 14. Times -2 is -28, so that's going right here. Minus 5 is -33. Times -2, that's going to be a +66. And then add 9, that would be 75. So the answer to this problem is 75. So people debate which way they think is easier. The other way is the way that you've basically done it for your whole life, but there's a little less math involved in a sense, in my opinion, doing it this way. But if they specify which method you have to use, you need to use that one. If it doesn't specify and it just says to like solve using substitution, you can choose either method. Sometimes for the sake of like space and questions on the test or quiz, I'll say like solve this problem by direct substitution and synthetic, so that you just do them both and the answer should be the same. So that way, if, you know, something's off, you can tell. But you can always check one by using the other method as well. So we'll do more with this tomorrow, but I just wanted you to see this. And then, yeah, we don't have a lot left in this section and we'll be done.